In American Samoa, they called me Mama Conway.
Okay.
But in the Hawaiian culture, it's Auntie.
Welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of The Voice of Generation Now. My name is Owen Smith, and I'm super happy to be back once again as your host this evening. We have a lovely audience in the house tonight. Give it up for your lovely audience. Amazing. We have some members from season 1, actually. We have some vets back in the house for the audience, and Kaislyn, who actually ran the podcast for the first season. So welcome back. Ruben and Kaislyn. Today, we have none other than Beth Conway on the podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. This is great. I'm excited.
Great. I'm glad you're excited.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might not know who you are or what you do. Would you like to explain just like what you do here at Olivet and just what your role is?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm known as Auntie Beth. Across campus. So when I come across people and they say, "Oh, you're Auntie Beth," oh, I didn't realize that. But I am the director of Pacific Rim Student Services. So, and I'm also a resident director in UP. But as far as my role with our PAC Rim students, I'm from the time of the recruitment until they graduate, I'm just their point person. I just help them in the transition, coming here to Olivet, just making sure that they know that they're utilizing the support system on campus. If they need anything, I am the go-to person here. I just kind of the mom or
the auntie
away from home. So, yeah.
That's super cool. Is there something that got you into this role? Have you had a passion for this like your entire life or something like that? Or like what led you down this path?
That's a really good question. I really didn't have a passion for it, but about 12 years ago, my husband's a football coach, and that's actually how I got started into that. So about 13 years ago, we took a trip to American Samoa to recruit football players. And while we were there, we realized there are a lot of students who don't have opportunities to go to college, or their choices are limited, mostly to the West Coast. And then you have to go through Hawaii to go to American Samoa. And then we started thinking about, well, what about the students in Hawaii? So we just started talking to students, talking to families, finding out where they were going. Often heard stories of the students coming to the mainland and going home after the first semester because they were promised all kinds of things, especially the fact that somebody would be watching over them and guiding them, only to find out that that was an empty promise that wasn't kept. And they would go home and they had a semester of debt, no college credits to even transfer back because they pretty much failed. And that just broke my heart. And so Coach Bob Harmon and his wife Anita Harmon are lifelong friends of my husband and I, and we just kind of got this brainstorm, let's just start recruiting in the Pacific and see what happens. And so that's how it all started.
That's super cool. How often do you meet with the people that you help bring to Olivet? Like, what's that look like?
I try to meet with them daily, as many of them as I can. I have a spot in Ludwig, street side drink station.
Nice.
So I have 1 or 2 tables that I sit at because I want to be accessible to the students. So if they need me, even if it's just a quick interaction, they know where to find me. They don't have to go to my office. But if they need a more intimate setting and a more private conversation, I have them meet me in my office. But
that's super awesome. Yeah. I like that you're just always available. You know, like we talk just about like always being available to the Lord, but you're always available to people the Hawaiian students that you bring. Like that's really awesome. You mentioned earlier that you are nicknamed Auntie Beth.
Yes.
What was the like, was there one person that called you Auntie Beth, or did it stick, or like, how did that come about?
That's a sign of reverence in the Polynesian culture. In American Samoa, they called me Mama Conway.
Okay.
But in the Hawaiian culture, it's auntie, so it's reverence. So the fact that I think it was early on in the recruiting process, once these students were interested in Olivet, I would go and meet them, and I would meet their families, and get to know them, because raising two boys, myself, my husband and I, we felt that in order for these families to trust us, they needed to know who they were entrusting their children to. And just making that connection and reassuring them that, we have their back. We'll continue what you started.
That's really good. You talk about going to meet them, like, down in Hawaii.
Yes.
Are there, like, name some things that are definitely different from your typical, like, American culture, like, in, like, the mainland of the States? But you go to Hawaii, I'm sure they have a different culture down there. What are some things that stand out to you compared to, like, in Bourbonnais, Illinois, compared to, like, Hawaii, for instance?
I often refer to the kids when they get here, they need to leave island time over there. It's really chill. Everybody's just relaxed, and they really embrace and enjoy the moment. They enjoy family because of how Hawaii is set up, and it's pretty much landlocked. You can only build up. There's not a lot of land, and it's very expensive there. So a lot of multi-generations live together. So I think there's more reverence and respect for their elders. That's something that I notice. And of course, most everybody notices the weather. Why leave paradise to come to Bourbonnais, Illinois? But I think what attracted me was just giving opportunity to these young men and women, and let them know that sometimes when you fly to somewhere on the West Coast and then you drive 3 hours, you could be in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I often tell the kids, your life is like a long line, and the time at Olivet is just a little blimp. But sometimes this little blimp feels like this. But once you get here, you get over the homesickness, and you meet, in Samoa, we call it Ainga. In Hawaii, it's ohana, so family. You develop a family amongst yourselves, and I think that's what keeps the kids somewhat rooted. It doesn't totally take away their homesickness, but it gives them something that kind of is a Band-Aid till they can get back.
Awesome. Very nice. You said that your husband was a football coach, and you went and recruited a lot of football players from Hawaii. How often now do you meet with football players from Hawaii? Like, how much, I guess when you look at all of the Hawaiians that come here, or anyone that's even not even from Hawaii or overseas, how often are they football players compared to just like regular students, if that makes sense?
A large majority are athletes.
That's what I figured,
that's the one thing that attracts the students here, and just scholarship opportunities. But not everybody. A lot of times others will matriculate because it's the sister or the other sibling or a cousin. I know we have two young women that are freshmen this year because their cousin came last year.
Oh,
and
nice.
Zion, she actually got here because of NYC. So she had opportunity. She went to NYC in Indianapolis, even though she grew up Nazarene in Hawaii. So we, close to, I think it was late July, early August, two of her cousins said, we would like to come to Olivet.
Nice.
So, and a lot of times boyfriends, girlfriends, things like that. So that opens the opportunity for other students to come. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of opening opportunities, we're about to open up the opportunity to the audience to ask any questions to Auntie Beth. If you have a question, feel free to come up to this microphone here.
All right, so my question for you is, how many times do you go overseas to meet students or for any of the activities that you go over for?
Okay.
In like a year, I would say.
Usually twice a year. I try to go sometime during the winter break, and then definitely in the summertime. During winter break, a lot has to do with how many students are actually thinking about coming, or if anybody's coming in the January term, because some students will sit out for a semester and take a late enrollment. And that's usually about a week to 10 days, but in the summertime, I try to do a couple weeks just to make it more cost effective, because in the summer, I often go to Hawaii, Guam, American Samoa. So at least twice a year if possible. And then just connecting with the parents through FaceTime throughout the year as well. So not just physically being there, but between, internet and all that, FaceTime, Zoom, just trying to connect that way as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think I have another question too.
okay.
As someone that really enjoys travel and exploring places I haven't been to before, or different cultures, what would be some points of advice you would give people that haven't gone over in that part of the world before?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a couple things that come to mind. First of all, always pack extras. Things are so expensive over there. So just make sure you have just, the cold medicines and the Tylenols and things like that. Going there during the wintertime, if you're going to go, plan ahead to allow yourself delays. A lot of times when you're flying, you think you're going, I'm going to go to Hawaii, I'm not going to have any issues. Well, if you get stuck in Chicago or Denver just because of snowstorms and things like that, of course, always have your passports. And then depending on if you're going for fun, because when we go over, everybody thinks, you're going to Hawaii, you're going to have fun. It's fun, but it's not like sightseeing touristy fun. We're literally, from the time we get up until we go to bed at night, we're meeting with families, and there's just a gazillion high schools all over the island, and we often island hop. So if you end up going to Hawaii, if you can visit all the islands, Kauai is probably my favorite. Everybody wants to go to Maui and Oahu or Honolulu, but Kauai is one of my favorite islands. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Ruben's got a question. Sweet.
Who's your favorite PRA student?
You would have to ask me that. No. I am a mother, so I don't have favorites. They all are my favorite.
Good answer.
There's actually, I will be honest, the first group that just graduated, I was the closest to, and part of that is because I was with them for 4 years, and it was something new. One of my favorite, I will admit, but I think he's everybody's favorite. He graduated last December, Andrew Lee Smith. I don't know if you remember Andrew Lee. He was number 35. He was running back for the football team. He didn't look like he could run, but boy, if you could give him the ball, he got the ball. He left people in the dust. So he just has a contagious personality. Hunter is my quiet one. Actually, my husband has a nickname for him, calls him the Playmaker. It's kind of fun. But it's really neat because every student is so unique, and there's something special about all of them that just, as their auntie, it's a proud moment to be a small part of every student. So, yeah.
All right, I have one more question.
Okay.
Go for it.
So when you're talking to families and all that, how do you prepare the students for the weather adjustment from them being in the most nicest warm climate to freezing here in the winter?
First of all, I'm honest with them. I tell them it will get cold, and a lot of it is layering. But I often remind them when they get here in August, especially early August, and the athletes who come back for softball or actually soccer and football in the early August, it's hotter here than it is there, and it's really humid. And I let them know that it's not like they get off the plane and it's going to be 10 degrees. It's gradual. And I talk to them about in the mornings they'll wake up and it'll be cool. And then, they're stripping their clothes off, unlayering their clothes because it's 80 in the middle of the afternoon. And then, the sun goes down and it's 60. And surprisingly, the students love the cold. And they can't wait till the first snowfall. Because a lot of
yeah.
them, if they've not traveled to Alaska or been to Washington or Colorado, they've never seen snowfall before. And we call them thongs, or, kids call them sliders or whatever. It'll be 10 degrees out and it'll start snowing, and they'll be in their shorts and their slides and they're like running around. And we who live here, I'm freezing. I'm in layers, and I've got hand warmers, and I'm passing the kids out hand warmers and things like that, and they think it's the greatest thing. So, it's just mind over matter. The hardest part is in January when they come back from paradise. That's what I tell them. And they get off that plane, and 2 years ago, it was like 35 below zero. And it was a shock. So, but for the most part, they love it. And they even tell me, oh, I don't want to go back. It's going to be hot, so... We take for granted what we have here. They love it. We always want to be. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, but it's not always that way. But the sunrises and sunsets in Hawaii are just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I believe that,
Yeah.
100%. Thank you, Ruben. I have a question, actually.
Okay.
So are there any specific, times you've gone to Hawaii? Have there been any, hard conversations with families you had to have? I know it's kind of a deeper question. You don't have to name drop or anything, but just give me a little insight to the hard part about your job.
The hard part, I do grade checks for the kids every week.
Okay.
And that's humbling for them, because before I even finish my text to them, they know I'm texting them, they come back to me and say, oh, I have this because, but I think the hard conversations, there's two aspects to that. The hard parts are those who've never left, and to reassure them that I'm going to be there, and they're here and they just can't get over that homesickness. They just can't get past that. And some of that is relational, because they have a significant other, and because of your youth, your generation, your youth, you feel like the youth feel like they have to be together, and there's a little bit of insecurity. Oh, I'm afraid he'll find another girl, or she'll find a guy, and just having to have those one-on-one conversations with them to say, if it's meant to be, it'll be, and this will strengthen your relationship.
That's good.
And then whenever there is a tragedy in the family, usually I'm notified by family ahead of time before the students are notified, so that I have a heads up. And or if a student gets injured and I'm the go-to person in the emergency room during surgery. I'm the one that's interfacing with the physician, the surgeon, and the family back home, because they can't just jump on a plane. I mean, it's so expensive. So I don't look at them as hard things. Again, I think raising two children and being a parent, you just step in, you do it, and then I think sometimes when we step back, we go, wow, how'd we get through that? And that's just totally where the Lord just gives us what we need in the time that we need it.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you, Auntie
Yeah.
Beth, for
You're
coming
welcome.
on
Thank you.
The
What an
Voice of
honor.
Generation Now. Yeah, glad you were able to come on. For one last time, give it up for our lovely audience
Yes.
for coming out this evening. Thank you, everyone. And once again, last time, thank you, Auntie Beth, for coming on the podcast. Glad you were able to make it. And that's all I have for you this evening. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you in episode 4.